Dear friends, welcome to this Electrical Engineering Knowledge Sharing channel, AMP Power System Workshop. Thank you very much indeed for your partnership in these various discussions on power system protection. We have completed 6 sessions and now we are in discussion of session 7, part 3. Part 1 and 2 we have already completed. Part 3 we are going to discuss the various protections are required for transformers, how to apply those protections, and why the protections are required in transformers, and what are the various problems or a failure can come to the transformer that we'll also going to discuss. So let's start today's session 7 part 3. We'll try to complete the session within 45 minutes. If we cannot complete the entire part, we'll take another part 4. So let's start today's session. Now, when we are going to find out the various protections required for a transformers, we need to understand or we need to discuss why the protection for transformer is important and what are the causes, what are the issues which can cause a problem or failure in a transformers. So first let's discuss why the transformer protection is important. We have already said transformer is a very important piece of equipment in the power system. It has a multi-phase application starting from generating station as a generating transformer, as a station transformer, as a distribution transformers, in various areas from this generating point up to the end of application to the consumer levels. This equipment has wide application. So this equipment, if it fails, depending on the location where it is connected, it has a various disturbance and drawback in the system. Suppose in case of generating station, when the transformer is used as a generator transformer, which we have already discussed, this is a generator and the transformer is connected as a generating transformer. It is going to the switchyard and then from it is going. If this is the transformer connected in this way and suddenly if this transformer fail, suddenly it gets fail, then it can cause disturbance in the electrical system, entire electrical system, as well as it can cause the disturbance to the generators. If the generator is a 500 megawatt generators, if suddenly if these generators get disturbed or it get out of service, then total system, there would be a multiple generators are connected in this way. The system may get unstable and maybe entire power plant get tripped. Or due to this transformer problem, sudden problem or failure, it may cause the outgoing system problem as well. So this is one of the major problem. That means when a transformer, depending on the connection, this type of connection, if the transformer is used for the distribution purpose, suppose this is coming from a switch gear, suppose this is coming from 33 kV switch gear and it is going to suppose 6.6 kV switch gear, and this from here various consumers are connected. Suddenly if this transformer fail, then these medium voltage consumers who are mainly a small size and medium size plant, operating plant, this may be a small chemical plant, it could be a small molding plant, it could be a small chemical processing plant. There are various type of, if this transformer suddenly fail, this primary distribution substation transformer, then all the consumer will be affected. So this is a similar, if a small transformer sub distribution level, if there is a transformer which is giving power supply to the various domestic supplier consumers, so in that case, if this transformer fail, all the consumers will not get power. So consumers means a small consumer like a domestic consumers, then their daily comfort, daily requirement, all this thing will not be there. So there will be any problem. There is a cost due to this failure. So depending on the transformer where it is located, it has a multiple effect to the consumer end as well as the source end as well as to the distribution end. So therefore, this transformer protection is very, very important. These are the 3 points I discussed. But in addition to this, there is a major drawbacks. If the transformer failure is there, then there is a major issue is, this transformer is the heaviest piece of equipment. Depending on the size, it can go about 100 ton, 80 ton, 50 ton weight of transformers. So in that case, the heavy weight transformers handling this transformer, if there is a minor failure, which may get repaired at site itself by mobilizing the OEM representative or the manufacturer representative. But if the transformer failure is huge failure, there is a severe failure, in that case site repair is not possible. In that case we have to send the transformer to the manufacturing facility. So now if it is onshore, suppose in the land, you can all this logistic arrangement to take this transformer either in a trolley or truck, or some other railway arrangement is to be made to take this huge, depending on the size of the transformer. That is one option. But if it is a offshore or where the land facility is not there, in that case to handle this transformer, suppose a 10-ton transformer installed on a 20-ton transformer installed on an offshore platform, suddenly the transformer has a major failure. So remove the transformer from the offshore platform and bring to the onshore is not simple job, because to handle this transformer, always that type of crane facility may not be available at offshore platform. First point. Second point, it may happen that crane facility is there, but the access to the transformer is not there. In that case, we have to hire a barge or a heavy vessel with a heavy crane, and with that crane we have to remove the transformer, and then we have to bring to the onshore. Then after repair, again it will go back to the offshore and to be installed. It may take maybe 1 year. So in case of transformer with minor failure to major failure, it can take from 10 days or 15 days to 1 year, more than 1 year maybe sometime required. So that's why this is another drawback of the transformer failure. If there is a transformer failure, then there is a tremendous issues about the logistic part of the transformer, removal, logistic transport and reinstallation of the transformer is one of the major issue. That's why we try as far as practicable to protect the transformer in such way so that major failure of the transformer can be avoided. So that we will provide a protection in such a way, before going to the failure, transformer should be isolated from the system so that it cannot go to major failure. Maybe some minor failure which we can repair at site or we can attend it at site. That is the purpose of the transformer protection, why transformer protection is important. Now next, come to the next point. So we have discussed about the transformer protection, why it is required. Number one, it can cause a system disturbance, it can cause the generating plant disturbance, it can cause the mid-size or medium-size or small-size consumers power out, and which can cause their production loss. It can cause a problem to the small distributor, small consumers like a domestic consumers also, they can get out of power. So, or if it is a generating transformer or station transformer or a primary grid transformer, if this transformer fail, then wide area can be under load shedding. If this is a huge, suppose a grid transformer is connected to this substation. Yeah, this is a grid transformer, is connected from the overhead line, it is connected to the substation. If this transformer fails, then all the consumers, the entire area, this type of, suppose it is a 100 MV transformer, it is supplying power to the wide area. If this transformer fails, entire wide area will be out of power, and depending on the failure, it can be 15 days to 6 months, or maybe even it can go to 1 year depending on the failure. In that case, we have to replace the transformer. In that case, might be, but that is also long time to manufacturing this type of transformer and bring into in place. It after the installation, testing, commission, it will also take more than 1 year. So that's why we need to protect the transformer as far as practicable, so that such a major failure can be prevented. That is the intention of the transformer protection. Now second point is, what are the various causes which can cause the transformer failure? To understand or to discuss this point, we need to go through again our construction part of the transformer. We have already discussed about the various type of transformer construction based on the classification. So I have, to save the time, I have made a small sketch of that. This is a one oil field transformer we have shown over here. It is a cell type transformer. In this cell type transformer, this is a transformer tank. Okay, in the transformer tank we have seen there is a core and then there is a windings. I have drawn a single phase only, but if it is 3 phase, then it will be 3 limb will be there. 3 phase, 3 winding, primary side 3 winding, secondary side 3 winding. Then that will be maybe shell type transformer. There will be 3 core will be there, over which the windings will be connected. And then this transformer is filled with oil. On the top of the transformer, there is a vacuum or inert gas space on the top of the transformer. So this is we have discussed, and then this one of the thing we have not mentioned. There is another integral part of the transformer. For all most of the transformer, there is a tap changer. That can be on-load tap changer, that can be off-load tap changer. We take out to change the voltage, output voltage, depending on the load, maybe there is a voltage drop. To take care of the voltage drop or to voltage rise, we put a tap changer from the certain point of the winding from the principal tap, then plus minus 2.5% means plus 5% minus 5%, 2 taps 2.5%, 2 taps, each tap is a 2.5%, so 2 tap is a total 5%. If this is a transformer winding, what we do, we take a, this is a principal tap, and then we put a tap like this. This is a principal tap, this is a normal voltage. Suppose it is a 6.6 kV, so it will give 6.6 kV voltage on this tap. Then we put a minus 2.5%, and then this tap will be minus 5%. Then similarly here will be my plus 2.5%, and then another tap will be plus 5%. Yeah. Then winding will be going like this, and then there will be a tap changer, and this tap changer will be, it is a rotating switch, it can go any of the position. So depending on the requirement, we will put the tap. That is called tap changer. It is for off-circuit tap changer. So there is a tap changer also in the switch, and from the tap changer it is coming to the outgoing bushing, and from the bushing power is either power is connected or power is going. So this is a basic construction. So when we see the construction of transformer, the major portion of the transformer from the failure point of view, we can say there is a winding. This is one of the winding where the failure can take place. Along the winding has a insulation. In the winding insulation, between the winding there is insulation, between the core and winding there is insulation. This insulation can also get failed. That is one of the point. Then the core, entire core can be failed due to heating of the core or during transport of the transformer, because all the transformer is sealed with oil and it comes to the side, we have no control on that. So during transport of the transformer, it may happen there is a huge vibration on the transformer, and that may cause the core loosen. If the core bolt, all this thing get loosened, then after installation, sometime after, transformer can get, core can get failed. So core failure, or if the core is used on a low frequency voltage, then there will be high flux will be produced, that will be producing high heating, that we have already discussed. In that case, core can get failed. This is another point. Then the bushing, which is connected to the transformer for inside to outside connection, we do through the bushing. If this bushing can fail, if a very dirty or polluted area, if we put the bushing 3-phase distance may reduced. In that case, at the end terminal of the bushing, there would be a chance of flashover. So bushing also, this bushing can also fail. Then the oil is filled in a tank, and this tank has a radiator. We already discussed the tank has a radiator. So if this radiator is very thin, it is about 1.5 millimeter, even 1 millimeter thin plate. So if this radiator is shell type, so if this radiator leaks, or from the bushing where inside oil, if this is leak, then there is a leaking of oil from this transformer tank. So this is another possibility of leaking of oil. That is also one type of failure. And we have seen the various protection. To implement various protection, we put the CT at the in the bushing, or there is a we have also one CT for the winding temperature indicator. This CT may get failed with the time. That is also possibility is there. Then there is a chance of moisture. In the case of seal type transformer, moisture ingress chance is not there. But in case of seal type transformer, there may happen. You know this, over the transformer oil, there is a vacuum or inert gas area which is lower than air pressure, and that vacuum is monitored by a vacuum pressure gauge. This is a vacuum pressure gauge. We monitor the pressure. Sometimes this piping or tubing connection, there is a leak. If there is a leak, immediately atmospheric air will go inside and it lose the integrity. So in that case, transformer tank can be expanded. So that is also one of the chance of transformer failure or problem. Then vacuum air loss we have done, and the tap changer. This tap changer is a very sensitive point. There is a lot of examples are there where the tap changer has failed, or on the tap changer there is a short circuit on the tap changer during rotation of the switch. So this is also another weak point in the transformers. So these are the various areas where the transformer failure can take place. So we will discuss one by one what type of failure can take place in this. In the case of winding failure, so these are the various in a brief. We can say the transformer major failure problem can take place in the winding, in the core, in the bushing, in the tap changer. If there is a possibility of oil leaking from the transformer due to the improper connection of the bushing or other gauges which are mounted on the transformer, there is a possibility of leaking of oil, or there is a possibility of leaking of field gas, or the vacuum area can be vacuum integrity could be lost, and that will also cause expansion of the transformer tank. Then there is a possibility of the CT which are mounted on the transformer bushing or inside the transformer tank, that may get failed with the time. So there is also possibility. So these are the various areas where the failure can take place. Now with this all failure, what will be the ultimate effect on the transformer, that we will discuss. If we look into all the failure, we can classify the transformer failure under 5 category. One is what is that? One is overloading. Due to overloading, transformer can get failed. Due to overloading, we have already discussed, each transformer has a rated capacity to carry a current. Accordingly, insulation system, everything has been designed. Now, if we load the transformer beyond its capacity, is 100%, above is 100% capacity, then what will happen? Transformer will carry the power, but ultimately transformer insulation will be overheated due to high current. As more and more current will be produced, more and more copper loss, I square RT loss will be more and more I square RT loss. T is a time, I square RT loss will cause more heat, and that more heating will cause the insulation failure. And with the insulation, if insulation got deteriorated or gets failed, then ultimately that insulation failure will transfer to the winding failure. So due to overloading, transformer can fail. So this is one of the service condition which can cause the transformer failure, that is a overloading. Second point is, we have seen that in case of I am talking already, now we are discussing about the external service condition which can cause the failure. This is actually service condition. Depending on the loading, it can fail if you go overload. Secondly, if the transformer work on a high voltage continuously, that could be power frequency over voltage, or it could be lightning over voltage. If this transformer is subjected to over voltage, power frequency over voltage continuously, or impulse voltage or tangent over voltage transformer is subjected to this situation, then transformer can also fail. That means over voltage operation. If the transformer is subjected to over voltage operation, that may cause failure of the transformer. Okay, over voltage operation. That over voltage, we'll discuss how the over voltage can take place. Number 3, if the transformer operate with over voltage and low frequency supply, if it operate with a low frequency supply, that can cause also transformer failure. So that is also one of the issue of the transformer. In addition to that, when any of this thing happens, suppose the transformer winding got failed, then ultimately winding failure can be converted to 2 types. Either winding can be interturn fault can be there, that is one of the chance. If the interturn winding fails, then same phase part of the winding will be shorted, and in that area, suppose this is one of the phase and this is the winding turns, suppose this part is getting shorted, so immediately the local circulating current will be here. That is called incipient fault in a interturn fault. And if it is a multiple phases, then this either it could be grounded further. If the insulation after this heating, interturn fault due to high heating, insulation failed, and then ultimately insulation coming to the contact to the earth, then it will be converted to ground fault. And if it is interlinked with the 2 phases, then it becomes phase fault. That is also abnormal operating condition. Number 4 is a incipient fault or the interturn fault. If it takes place, interturn fault, that also cause this abnormal operation of the transformer. Then if this intermittent fault or any internal fault due to deterioration of the insulation or deterioration of the core or deterioration of the winding, then it could be called a ground fault. And then also, so there is a short circuit between the 2 term or amongst the 3 windings, or there is a short circuit across the bushing, there is a short circuit across the tap changers, then there will be a phase fault also. Yeah, phase fault. So these are the various type of fault. What we said, that is overloading, that is one of the abnormal operating condition. Then over voltage operation is abnormal operating condition. Low frequency supply operation is also one of the condition. Then there are 3 type of fault can take place in this winding. One is the interturn fault, then second is a ground fault, and third is these are the internal, this is a fault problem, internal fault, internal interturn fault. Number 2 is a ground fault, and third is a phase fault. These are the 3 type of fault can take place also in the transformer along with the various abnormal operating conditions. So these are the 6 type of fault or service condition which can cause the transformer health issue or transformer failure or transformer damage or transformer minor failure. So we will discuss one by one how we can protect the transformer from these abnormal operating conditions. Okay, so we can write down over here the sixth condition which we discussed. That is the sixth condition. Now we first discuss about the overloading. How this overloading condition can be protected, or how the in case of overloading, how we can save the transformer from major failure. So we have already seen this abnormal service condition. This abnormal service condition protection, normally we provide with the equipment which are mounted on the transformer. We don't need to external device for that. Okay, the protection we provide that equipment protection by the protection relay, but already we have discussed the various equipment mounted on the transformers. Those equipment we have said it is a protection devices. These protection devices are meant for to protect the transformer various some of the abnormal conditions. Now normally the external service conditions which can cause a abnormal operation of the transformer or failure of the transformer, normally those conditions or those abnormal service conditions are protected by the devices which are mounted on the transformer itself. Now we have seen in the transformer there are two devices we have installed. One is a oil, in case of oil transformer, oil temperature indicator, and number two we have put winding temperature indicator. Okay, in the winding temperature indicator, these are the two indicators we have, two gauge or indicator we have provided. And this indicator has a, what is that? This indicator has a dial with a rotor with a pointer, and there is a contact on the back side of the shaft or point on the pointer. When the pointer moves at a certain position, it makes some contact, open contact to a normal open contact to close contact to open contact. So these are two indicators we have seen already installed on the oil field transformer. In case of dye type transformer, only winding temperature indicator is there. Now, in case of oil, we have said that oil is a grade insulation. That means it can go up to 105 degrees centigrade. But for the considering, and we have said as per BS 171, we have said the recommended transformer temperature should not go above 90 degrees centigrade. That is BS 971. So considering all these limitations, normally what we do, it is oil. In case of oil and in case of winding, we said it can go up to 5 degree more. That means it can go 110 degree. Okay, so it can go up to 110 degrees winding in case of winding rise. Okay, in case of winding actual as per specification. Now what we do, we generally don't allow up to, while temperature goes up to 105 degree, we allow temperature up to go up to 95 degree normal operating, and then if it go further we allow up to 100 degree, and after that 100 degree operation we don't allow the transformer to operate. So when it operate to 95 degrees centigrade means we allow the temperature rise of oil. Normally this transformer, when you specify, we say it is a, depending on the country where the transformer is installed, in the east, in the Asia, Southeast Asia and Middle East, when you use the transformer, we say ambient temperature is 50 degrees centigrade maximum. So with the 50 degrees centigrade ambient, if the temperature rise we consider, so we allow temperature rise 50 degrees ambient temperature, with ambient 50 degree, we allow temperature rise is 45 degree. 45 degree centigrade rise, so total will be 50 plus 45, so this is equal to 95 degree. So this is we allow for the normal condition. When temperature comes 95 degree centigrade of oil, immediately alarm will be produced by the indicator. This oil temperature indicator, it has, we have seen, this is the indicator, there is a pointer and there is a dark red color pointer for the maximum temperature. On this shaft which is rotating this pointer, on that shaft there is a contact. If suppose this is a 95 degree centigrade location, so in this position, when the shaft will come in this position, there is a contact in that position. That contact will immediately closed, and that contact will give alarm to the control room or to the operator, and then operator will understand when this transformer oil has come 95 degrees centigrade, which is the maximum operating condition. So we should immediately we have to control this temperature. So how we'll monitor how we'll control the temperature? We can control the temperature by unloading the transformer. We'll overload some of the load, will reduce from the transformer. Then we'll see whether the temperature is coming down or not, because temperature is the replica of loading, or that means how much current is going through the winding. If we reduce the current, then automatically temperature should come down. If that is not coming down, that means there is an internal fault in the transformer. That is we understand. If the transformer temperature come down immediately after uploading the transformer, then we'll understand this due to loading, so we'll reduce the load so that transformer insulation will not go further deteriorated. Now this is the first level of attempt. Second attempt is, if we do not do this thing, if suppose operator fail to take action, in that case we give a second level of protection. What? When the temperature goes another 5 degree above. So 95 degree is the wild temperature, is the normal alarm point. Now when the temperature goes more than 95 degree at 100 degree centigrade, another 5 degree more. Okay. So 95 degree, in the case of oil temperature indicator, when it monitor 95 degree centigrade, immediately it will give alarm, and then operator will take care. If it is not taken action is not taken, and it goes further, it goes 100 degree centigrade, then immediately it will issue a trip command. Another at that position, suppose this is the 95 and this is the 100 degree position. When the pointer will come in this position, then there is another contact in that position that will get close and it will give the trip command. Trip command. Yeah. How the trip command will go? We have already seen that transformer, this is a plus, this is a control circuit for the transformer. Suppose this is the tip coil of the transformer. What do we do? All this contact. Suppose this is oil temperature indicator, okay? And this is the oil temperature indicator, this is alarm contact, and this is a trip contact, okay? So what do we do? We connect a lockout relay. We'll come after that. It is called 86 lockout relay. It is not only this, so many contact we connected parallel. Now it is a transformer trip contact. Okay, trip. When this contact, immediately 86 lockout, and this 86 lockout relay is connected over here to the trip coil. The moment 86 operate, it get close, trip coil get energized, breaker will trip. It is a, when oil temperature indicator goes off, transformer is a two side. Transformer is a two side. We have seen this is a transformer and this is LV side. Suppose this is LV and this is HV. This is a source side from where the power supply is coming. So normally when this oil temperature go to the trip level, immediately HV side breaker will be tripped. Okay, that is the practice we follow always, because immediately power source will be going off, and depending on the connection, we may require downstream breaker also. When the high voltage breaker is tripped, there is an inter trip between these two. Immediately low voltage breaker will trip and the transformer will be isolated. So this way we can do the tripping circuit. So in case of oil temperature indicator, it is a two level of protection we are giving, so that overloading we can protect from the transformer. In parallel to this, winding temperature indicator also monitoring the temperature. But winding temperature indicator, we put a setting slightly higher. What we do, in case of winding temperature indicator, we put alarm 100 degree centigrade. This is the alarm point, because winding, if you see the heating cycle, winding is part getting heated, then that heat is taken by oil, and oil is conduct through the transformer tank, but that hot oil is getting cooled by the outside atmospheric air. So winding temperature rise will be always higher than the oil temperature. That's why we have said winding is a winding insulation. We get B grade insulation, that is 130 degree centigrade insulation. So winding can go up to 130 degree, but we don't allow up to 130 degree. We go 100 degree temperature, we get alarm, and 105 degree we get trip. Okay, so this is the second level of protection also there. So in case of overloading of the transformer, there is a two devices there on the transformer which can protect the overloading. One is a oil temperature indicator, another is a winding temperature indicator. Oil temperature indicator, it will give first alarm, then it will, if operator is not taking action, then at 100 degree, 5 degree more temperature it goes, immediately it will trip. And if at the same time, winding temperature indicator also monitoring, and it will give also alarm at 100 degree centigrade, and it will trip at 105 degree centigrade. So there will, suppose this is a winding temperature indicator contact, so it will be connected to this relay. Okay, 86. So either this is operate or this is operate. In both cases, this breaker will trip. This way, transformer overloading we protect. Okay, so this is the overloading protection of the transformer. Second point, we have said that transformer the second point is the transformer abnormal operating condition is a over voltage operating condition. Okay, now the transformer over voltage, there are this is overloading. Second point of the transformer is a overloading, over voltage operation of the transformer. Now over voltage transformer, we have said that in case of over voltage, there are two type of over voltage can take place in a transformer. One we call power frequency over voltage, another we call transient over voltage, Okay, These are the two types of over voltage can take place in a transformer. Tangent over voltage means how the tangent over voltage take place? Tangent over voltage take place from the lightning. When there is a lightning is to come on the transformer, suppose the transformer mounted on the outdoor and it has overhead overhead conductor connection, okay, exposed to the atmosphere. If some lightning is to come on the transformer overhead wires or on the bushing, then there is a over voltage can generate, and this over voltage will be subjecting to the transformer winding. It could be primary, it could be secondary winding. And similarly, if there is a switching, in the case of switching operation, there are several occasions where the over voltage can take place. Like in case of when you switching the transformer, you will be switching through a breaker or through a gang operated switch or through the switching through the switch. Now during this operation, if there is a pre-arcing, before making the contact there is arcing, or there is a multiple or during this could be pre-arcing, or there will be multiple arcing during making the contact, then there is a chance of over voltage in the winding. Then over voltage can be generated in the winding. Then the switching voltage which you injected at what position you are switching at on the transformer. When you close the switch, at that time what is the voltage profile? That also depending on the voltage profile, if there could be a chance of over voltage. Then during breaking of the current, when the breaker get opened, during breaking of the current, there will be a chance of current chopping. Suddenly current get chopped, which can cause the over voltage in the transformer. That is also cause over voltage. These are the tangent over voltage. Then there is another scenario where the ferroresonance can take place. When this transformer is a distributed capacitance for this various cable connection, and the transformer is inductor. So when a capacitance is connected with the inductor, and this inductor is a variable type, then it causes a ferroresonance in the transformer, and this ferroresonance also causes over voltage. There are three windings in the transformers, and this three winding has a capacitance as well as inductance. And if out of this three winding is feeding from suppose this is a one phase, this is another phase, and this is a third phase. Okay, this has a winding. Suppose it is connected by a star. So this winding has the inductor and the capacitor. Suppose out of the three phases, one phase suddenly get open or this conductor get open. If in that case this inductor get changed immediately, then there at that instant there will be a phenomena called ferroresonance, which can cause the over voltage in the transformer. That is also possibility of the over voltage possibilities there. In addition, the power frequency over voltage always there, the voltage which is supplying to the transformer, it is coming from the remote end, maybe 20 kilometers away by cables. In that case, cable has a capacitance, and due to the capacitance, it may happen that transformer terminal getting voltage more than the rated voltage due to the capacitance. And it could happen in the reverse way also. Suppose it is operating in this low frequency area. In that case also, there is a chance of over power frequency over voltage. So if there is a over voltage, then what will happen? Transformer insulation, which we have already said, there is a insulation is decided on the transformer depending on the voltage grade of the transformer. We call it basic insulation level. We design the bill basic insulation level depending on the input output voltage or primary secondary voltage. So if this transformer is subjected to the situation where the over voltage can generate more than this bill, then what will happen? Transformer will get fail, insulation will get fail, transformer will be short circuited. Either it could be bushing, it could be inside the winding, and inside the winding another phenomena, when this tangent over voltage comes in, the lightning over voltage or switching over voltage, it has a waveform. This side is a microsecond, and this second is a voltage. Okay, if you see that the peak value, so this peak value it is called 1.2 by 50 microsecond. What does it mean? This peak wave front, it go to the peak value within 1.2 microsecond, and it submerges to the normal level in 50 microsecond. It is called high rise wavefront. That is all the lightning impulse voltage. It is a high front wavefront. So what is happening? Suddenly within 1.2 microsecond, if this voltage injected on the winding, so winding, initial part of the winding will be subjected to this high voltage, and immediately that portion of the winding may get failed. So this is a lightning or switching impulse comes in this way. So protect this transformer, what we do? We already said there is a lightning arrestor we put on the transformer between the circuit breaker and the bushing. Suppose this is a transformer and this is a bushing is connected over here. Suppose this is a bushing, and then the overhead conductor connected over here, winding is connected over here. This is a bushing, suppose. Now this is coming from a switch gear. Suppose this is a switch gear, this is a breaker, it is coming from the switch gear. So to when and if this is a overhead portion, or it may be cable, or if it is cable, then switching surge will go there. Switching surge will be reflected from the winding, also possibly that could cause also over voltage. So in that case, between the breaker and the bushing, we provide a lightning arrestor. That lightning arrestor, the lightning arrestor voltage will be below the bill of this transformer. If the bill is, suppose the bill is 75 kV, okay, 75 kV, then if it is a phase, then 75 by root 3, then this will be lower than, suppose it will be 60 kV. So what will happen? The moment over voltage comes, before failure of this transformer, this lightning arrestor will be grounded. So the voltage will be grounded. The lightning impulse, or this 1.2 by 50 microsecond, this wavefront will be going to the grounded. So by putting the lightning arrestor on the primary secondary side, we can protect the transformer from the over voltage condition. And it is for tangent over voltage condition. That's why to protect the transformer from tangent over voltage condition, we provide the lightning arrestor. This lightning arrestor could be different type depending on the cost. It could be normal station type. It could be normal horn on the transformer tank. Suppose this is a bushing. Yeah, we can put a horn gap. Yeah, horn gap. So when the voltage immediately gap will be a spark over and it will be grounded. Or it could be metal oxide type, solid state metal oxide type. In that case, it is always, there is no gap. It is filled up with the metal oxide. And but it has a resistance. When the high voltage comes, this metal oxide getting shorted, and it shows the low resistance, because with the voltage, metal oxide is such a material with the change of voltage is resistive, or its conductivity get higher. So when this high voltage comes, immediately conductivity will be high, immediately it will conduct to the ground. That way the metal oxide work. The metal oxide arrestor also we can use. We can use normal station type arrestors. We can use a horn gap also. So there is a depending on the cost and the transformer cost, we can decide what type of lightning arrestor we need to provide to protect the transformer from the tangent over voltage. But the concept, this over voltage, this arrestors voltage grade to be decided based on the equipment bill level, basic insulation level, and these arrestors flashover voltage must be less than the bill of the transformer, otherwise it cannot protect the equipment. Okay, this is the power tangent over voltage protection. It can be provided from both sides, both winding, LV and HV winding, depending on the type of connection, voltage grade, and we can calculate that how much voltage is coming on the transformer due to this lightning impulse or switching impulse. If that voltage is below the bill, then we need not to protect that. We need not to put the lightning arrestor. But if it is above the bill, then we have to protect the transformer from the lightning, this tangent over voltage. And for the power frequency over voltage, we can provide voltage relay, but normally we do not provide a voltage relay in the case of transformer. For power frequency over voltage, what do we do? Power frequency over voltage. Power frequency over voltage protection, how we will do? We include two protection. We call it overfluxing protection. We have already discussed during various overfluxing protection. We have said that is called 99. When there is over voltage in the system, we have already said that due to over voltage operation, transformer insulation can be continuously subjected to this high voltage and insulation can fail with the time. And along with this, there is another issue is there. If this transformer, when it is operating with over voltage, at that time the frequency of the supply which is coming to the transformer, if that frequency of the supply is not the rated frequency, it is below the rated frequency, then this effect will be more severe. Okay, one is over voltage, there is a stress on the transformer winding due to continuous, because power frequency over voltage is normally continuous in nature. It will be continuing, is going the over voltage, still it is not captured, it is not attended. And along with this, if there is a under frequency operation, if the voltage which is coming to the transformer, it is a under frequency, means normally its frequency is 50 hertz. Okay, 50 hertz plus minus 5% we allow. Now if this frequency suppose it come to 45 hertz, low frequency than the rated condition, then this over voltage along with the low frequency is very severe. Why low frequency is severe, that we'll discuss now in a brief. We have already seen that, the flux density in a transformer, that flux produced by the, suppose this is a core and this core is subjected to a flux. This flux we call phi, right? This, if you see the phi equal to phi max, because it is a sinusoidal wave, the current which is passing to produce the core, this is a sinusoidal. If it is sinusoidal, then the flux produced by the current is also sinusoidal, so it is a phi max into sine of omega t. This is the equation for the flux. Now, if you see the phi max, how much the phi max? Now, we have already seen that EMF produced in the, this induced EMF produced in the transformer secondary winding E equals to 4.44 phi max into F into N. We have already seen this. N is the number of turn and F is the frequency. We have already seen. From this, if we draw phi max is equal to E by 4.44 into F into N. If you put over here, then it will be phi max equal to E by 4.44 into F into number of turn into sine of omega t. So at any time, how much flux will be produced by particular voltage? You inject the voltage, then how much flux will be produced? That depend on the frequency and the number of turns. But number of turns is already fixed for the transformer, so it is depending on the frequency. If the frequency is low, then flux will be high. That means the flux produced by particular voltage will be high, will be higher and higher as the frequency getting lower and lower. So when a transformer is operating at a high voltage, that will also give high flux. That is number one. Then if it is operating in the reduced frequency, that will also increase the flux. In that case, what will happen? This core will be operating very high flux density level and the core will get fully saturated. If its core is getting fully saturated, then what will happen? The core will be overheated. That is one point. Due to overfluxing in the core, some of the flux will be leakage from the core and it will go to the mounting bolt, mounting frame, all are steel body, steel structure. All this thing will be subjected to this additional flux. That means due to high flux production in the core, some of the flux will be leakage from the winding from the core to outside, and that will be linked with the all the other metallic hardware which is used for the core mounting or transformer winding mounting. That will also produce a eddy current or heating. So ultimately transformer will be severely overheated. So working a transformer with a high power frequency voltage with a lower frequency, that will be very severe for the transformer operation. That's why what we do, where there is a possibility of this thing, immediately we provide a protection for overfluxing protection or V by F protection. So we said already V by F, what we do, we put a relay, that relay monitor the voltage and frequency, this ratio, and based on the ratio value, normally we allow up to 1.05, that is 5% from the rated condition. Okay, from the rated value, V rated by F rated, suppose this value is K, so we allow up to K into 1.05 to operate. If this value more than this, immediately transformer, this relay, there is a V by F relay in the transformer, we have to install this relay, it is called overfluxing relay. Then this overfluxing relay will give a command. We have already seen how it is working. This is a 86 lockout relay contact and it is going to the tip coil, and then we have a contact over here. We have this temperature contact we put, while temperature wine, we can put another contact over here, that is a V by F, and it will go to the lockout relay 86, and 86 will give the trip. This is 86 and this is a tip coil. So this 86 operate immediately, this contact will get closed and relay will operate, and this breaker will, suppose this is a HV side breaker, this is transformer, it is going to LV side, it is a HV. So immediately this 86 lockout relay will trip this breaker, and there is an interlock between these two, both will trip. So this is a over voltage protection for the transformer. So tangent over by V by F protection, we do this. In addition to this, we can provide a 59 protection from the PT also. Okay, so that is also possibilities there, but normally we provide V by F. When the V by F protection is not viable, in that case we provide normally 59 over voltage protection. Okay. This is a transformer over voltage protection. Now we'll come to the next item. So these devices are mounted, the lightning protection is given by the device mounted on the transformer, that is arrestor. Only for V by F protection we have to provide a separate protection relay. Now next point, from the PT connected to the transformer primary side, we have to connect a PT over here, and that PT will be connected to V by F relay, or it will be connected to either V by F relay or V by F or 59 relay. will be connected, over voltage relay, 59 is over voltage relay, it will be connected over here. Now next point is your incipient fault inside the transformer. We have seen there is a lot of chances due to various condition of the transformer can produce a lot of gases inside the transformer due to detonation of the oil, detonation of the winding. Suppose there is a, I already told, we have already discussed, there is a turn, if there is an inter-turn insulation fail, there will be local heating. Due to this local heating, what will happen? There will be over temperature. Due to over temperature, the mineral oil which is inside, that mineral oil can break, and when the mineral oil break, it produces various hydrocarbon, including the, suppose this is a insulation is there. If insulation is a cellulose material, if the cellulose material decomposed, then also it will produce gas. In case of hydrocarbon, if the oil gets decomposed, it produces all the alkane. Alkane means CnH, H2n plus 2. Cn like a methane. It can produce all the alkane like a CH4, lower C2H6. These two, ethane and methane, they produce. They produce ethylene also. C2H4 also is produced. Then there is a produced of carbon monoxide due to cellulose decomposed. All this gas is produced due to decomposition of the cellulose and the oil. And if there is a fault, inter-turn fault, or if there is a major fault between the winding, heavy short circuit, then also there is a wave produced inside oil due to it, like a blasting inside oil tank, oil filled tank, there is a blasting that will cause a oil wave along with the gas. Okay, so there will be pressure develop inside the tank due to either there is a minor failure or major failure of the winding. To protect this thing, so what we do in that case, what we do in this case, there is a device already we have discussed. In case of seal type transformer, we have a device called pressure release device. In case of seal type transformer, seal type oil field transformer, we have a pressure release device. Pressure release device, that is called 63, pressure release device. And then we have another point called surge relay. This is we already provided for the seal type transformer. And in case of open type transformer, which has a conservator tank, we have put Bocuse relay, right? Bocuse relay. These are the two relay we have provided. When this minor gas is producing slowly with the time, then this gas will go off, and then the pressure relief device, we have already said it is a bellows. It is actually a bellows fixed with a spring, and that spring has a contact. There is a bellows. There is a bellows over here. This is a bellows. This is a bellows. Over the bellows there is a springs. These are springs, and this is the mounted shaft, and that shaft has a contact. Over here there is a contact. So when the gas comes over there, the bellows get compressed. When it gets compressed, the spring moves up. It give a force on the spring, then the shaft will go up, and then when the shaft go up, this contact will make. So these are pressure relay and surge relay operating. Pressure release device is operating when the normal low rate of gas pressure is producing. Gas is going up with the time. When the pressure develop to the trip point, to the contact closing point, immediately pressure relief device operate. Then it will give either alarm or trip. And then what will happen? There is on this gauge there is a snap switch which is operate a pin. And that pin will get open, immediately all the gas will be getting out of the transformer tank will be released from the pressure. But if this hardened fault is very heavy fault, heavy short circuit take place between the winding or among the three winding inside the tank, then there is a oil wave will be produced. Oil wave will be produced, and then there is inside the oil there is a relay we call it surge relay. This relay pressure relief device is mounted on the top of the tank. Suppose this is a tank, it is mounted on the top of the tank. But the surge relay, suppose this is oil level, surge relay is installed inside oil. So when heavy gas is produced or heavy fault is there, when a severe type of fault is there, immediately there is a wave will be produced, oil wave along with the gas, and that will operate the surge relay, and surge relay will directly trip the breaker. It will not give any alarm. So in case of severe fault, surge relay will operate. So this type of incipient fault due to inside the transformer winding is protected by this device called pressure release device or surge relay. In case of Bocuse relay, we have already said Bocuse relay is used for the conservator type of tank transformer, very big size of transformer. This is a transformer tank. There is a pipeline connected over here. Then there is a Bocuse is connected over here. Then it is going to the conservator tank, right? This is a conservator tank. This is called Bocuse relay. Okay. Now there is a rule of this connection. Now this, if you want to connect this height of the Bocuse relay from the transformer tank, it will be 75 millimeter height. This Bocuse relay, when the heavy fault in the open type transformer, then what will happen? This transformer fully filled up oil. Oil is up to this level. Suppose tank is this level. So this wave, we along with the gas will go and it operate the Bocuse relay, and Bocuse relay will give the trip command. So this is called 63 watt this pressure relief device protection for the transformer. Okay. So these devices already on the transformer. So we need not to bring in a foreign device to protect the transformer. I think we have already completed 45 minutes. So with this will be closing today. So today we discuss about the various protection. What are the various problem why the protection is transformer is important. Then what are the various causes which can cause the protection failure of the transformer. Then what are the consequences and what are the protection required for that. What are the external service condition, internal fault which can cause the transformer failure. Out of that we have discussed about the overloading, we have already discussed. Over voltage condition we have already discussed, and then we have discussed about this incipient fault or the interturn fault or short circuit inside the transformer by the pressure relief device. Now we will discuss another 2 points. One point is a ground fault protection. Ground fault protection, and then we will discuss phase fault protection. Phase fault protection, and then we will discuss application of the various protection function in the various size of transformer. Application of protection functions. Protection functions for various type of transformers. Various size of transformer. This thing I think we have to cover in another discussion. So so discussion 4 will be covering this 3 items: ground fault protection, phase fault protection, which will include overcurrent and differential both. Ground fault protection also include 51N or 50G or 87GN or 64A, whatever restricted article. All these 3 items we will discuss in the part 4. So with this I am closing today's part 3, and I really convey my sincere thanks to all of you for sharing these various discussions so far, as I can see from the channel viewers. So please keep it up, and thank you very much indeed.